Thank you for listening to The Afternoon Pint. We are an independent podcast and we need your support. Please take a moment to hit that like, follow, and share button. Email us if you have an idea or suggestion for the show. Please send your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Cheers.
Cheers, I've had a head start.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Pint.
It's a half point.
Steve Murphy, it's a pleasure to have you back. You opened this year with us, and you're closing this year with us.
We've returned to the scene of the pint.
There you go.
Pretty darn cool. So thank you so much for...
We're all drinking Murphy's in your honor.
We're drinking Murphy's in your honor.
Well, at least you have Murphy's glasses. I can't attest for what's in it.
This might be the first time I ever had a Murphy's.
Well, it's very, very
Did
nice.
you not have one last time we were... No? I don't know. I know I did, because I had a Guinness to start, and then I moved over to
I had a
Murphy's.
Guinness, and then I had a Guinness.
Oh, you're right.
Murphy's is a little different than Guinness.
Yeah.
A little sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Not bad, though.
It's fantastic.
Any beer is good on a Friday afternoon, you know?
Well, free beer has always been my favorite beer.
There you go. That's true. Cold, wet, and free.
So it's December. You got a lot going on. Christmas Daddies is just around the corner. That's going to be this weekend coming, right? This show's coming out next Tuesday. So December 6th or 5th.
So we are on the 2nd for this program. Yes, Christmas Daddies is on the 6th.
That's right.
Coming
There
out
we go.
this weekend.
62nd year.
62nd year.
Congratulations.
Well, I wasn't there for all 62, I'll have you know. But but really, the community deserves congratulations for keeping it going. The one regret, I think, is that we still need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it would be nice to think that we don't need the sort of charity that we needed in 1964. But the truth is, we probably need it more now than we did then.
Ain't that
or at least as much.
Yeah. No, that's probably true. Yeah, there's a lot of people struggling right now.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, if we want to just hop to some more recent news, but I mean, we're the local food banks are going to be getting a $4 million influx of money. It sounds like from the provincial government selling off that American booze. So
Well, they had to do something with the liquor.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Obviously, I think we wanted to make a political point, and the government made a strong political point.
Yep.
Delisting it or taking it off the shelves. On the other hand, what were we going to do with $14 million worth of hooch?
I really wanted some bourbon for Christmas. I
Well,
really
you
having
might be
an
getting some
old-fashioned.
now.
Yeah, so I think I'll be.
and you know what?
I'll
You
be
can
there
feel
next week.
good about drinking it because it's going to a good cause.
Well, that's
You're feeding people.
And if I might, and I don't want to see politics in everything, but that's the genius of this decision.
I like that.
I agree.
Nobody, the state is not going to benefit. The people are going to benefit. The Feed Nova Scotia network will benefit.
Yep.
Real people will benefit for Christmas. I mean, it's a perfect time.
Yeah. I'm glad they. Some people, I saw some people saying like, why wait so long? But I actually think this was the right time.
I think it's the right time.
Yeah.
And I think, the other point is, if the government had decided just to sell off the stock and take the profit, the question could have been fairly asked, what was the point?
100%.
In other words, we had a price and we now know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing here now is that the product was withdrawn and will not be reordered, and the profit will go to food banks.
Right.
That strikes me as being a pretty good way to handle it.
Yeah.
I think it's smart.
Yeah.
Me too.
So I just want to
yeah.
say real quick, this episode is for our listeners and fans, in particularly in Atlantic Canada. So thank you so much for being with us this year. We've seen the show grow to heights we cannot imagine. We've told a lot of stories from walks of life, people we've never met, learned things we never thought we'd learn. My gosh! So thank you so much to everyone listening, and that's a big cheers to all of you
Absolutely.
at home. So thank you very, very much.
Cheers to you folks.
Yes.
So, Steve, we thought what would be really cool this year is if we kind of did a year in review with you, right? To talk about, at least some of the big events that happened in 2025.
Sure.
So, it started off pretty great. What do you think?
Well, that depends
I
what
don't
angle
think
you're
that
talking
any of us, we were sitting here a year ago. I think we were in the same snug bud.
about. We were, yeah. Exact same spot.
We knew, Trump had been elected. We
Yes.
knew there was going to be a seismic change in politics in the United States. I don't think any one of us, certainly I didn't have any sense of just how dramatic it was going to be.
Right.
No.
I mean, we expected drama, but we got trauma. we didn't get drama. We got both.
With a TR.
Trauma.
To this day, I was on the TikTok account of the White House, and I could not believe what I saw. I'll just leave it at that. Explicit lyrics and music to just people being looked at so harshly within their own country. Not political, but certainly not right.
I'd go as far as say this is not political because you know what? I sit and more than ever now I'm seeing replays of George Bush and Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr., like HW and W kind of thing. And you sit back and you listen to some of the things they've said, and I'm finding myself going like, because this is, people look at it as a Republican thing, but I don't think this is a Republican-Democrat thing.
That's a different thing.
Republicans, I'm listening to them. John McCain said really beautiful, nice, great things.
Sure.
Reagan, all of them, they all had really great things. I watched something this morning with George H.W., and I was like, oh, I can resonate with that. This is a different beast.
This is a much different beast. I mean, this is not the Republican Party.
No.
I mean, it is still the Republican brand, but it is the Trump Republican or the MAGA Republican Party. And the thing is, I may have said this before, the fair-minded can disagree about public policy, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, democracy rather depends on it. My grave concern about what has been going on is the level of disrespect that the President of the United States has brought to the office. And I think that I can understand bluntness and I can understand being tough. I find it hard to accept rude and crude.
Yeah.
And particularly rude, crude, and disrespectful. And I just don't think there's any need for it in public discourse. And I don't think it's helpful. And I wonder if that will ultimately be the undoing of it.
Maybe. There's a part of me that, because, people like yourself, if you were American down in Washington, you'd be going, tete-a-tete with this guy, calling you fake news and stuff, right?
Well, sure, but the problem is, the other thing that's been sacrificed with the return of President Trump is truth.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump does not appear to feel in any way bound by any sort of, not only rules, but any sort of facts. And he says essentially whatever he wants to say, and there are very few people who are willing, perhaps they're not courageous enough to challenge him, because he's very good at tearing people down and defeating people. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene and what has happened with her is a great example.
Yeah. Shocked me.
She was his greatest supporter, and now, what's the old song, Cliff Richard? We don't talk anymore.
Yeah.
They're completely and totally out to lunch with each other. So, I don't know, but I do have a feeling that on matters of policy, people will disagree and should. I don't think that this is going to be maybe a question of policy disagreement in the end. It's going to be tonal, and it's going to be about the nature of leadership, the tone of leadership, and about the fact that there just are no guardrails around the President of the United States. I can't see how that can be sustained in the long term.
I've always said that,
but maybe I'm a fool.
No, I've said that. We're about you can disagree on where your tax dollars go and certain policies and things like that, but how you treat people should not, that's the line in the sand for me. Yeah. So yeah. But anyways,
but I also don't think he's worried about what we think.
No, he's really not.
No. And I loved our nice agent in Canada that we had this year.
Wasn't that great?
That was great. Eh? What a well gesture to see that actually go all over the world or all over North America.
Well, it went viral, but I was actually thinking, and in fact, when this airs, I'm going to be doing an event with the Tourism Industry Association of Nova Scotia, and I'm actually going to suggest, I think we should set up a nice agency.
Finally, a job I could do.
And actually, have people go out and be nice agents.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And that was this hour's 22 Minutes idea, one of their brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
But why not do that? Why not actually say we are going to send out across the province next summer, maybe a lot of young people, and say you're our guests and we are the nice agents.
There was a lot of niceness last night, and there's still a lot of kindness in Halifax. I was downtown last night, waterfront with my family. We walked the waterfront. I photobombed some people jokingly, and then got in their pictures and took their pictures for them. And I just had a lot of fun downtown last night. There's still real good. There's still a lot of good humans out there. I want people to know that.
Yeah, absolutely so. But the thing that has amazed me, and again, this hour is 22 minutes, is very good at taking serious subjects and lampooning them. They've been doing it for a long time. But the Americans that the nice agent talked to, they actually thought, I think some of them, that maybe this is an agency of the government of Canada. And what the heck, maybe it should be.
Emotions were running high in the U.S. Some folks seeing this were quite like, wow, this is so beautiful. This is how you should run a country.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, wow.
You know what?
Pretty interesting.
I actually shout out to this hour's 22 minutes because 2025 has been a banger year from them.
Yeah.
I honestly I mean, I've always appreciated them, but they've had some ups and down years. But
Critch might be the best Trump impersonator.
Oh, well, Critch
think
is
he is.
fabulous.
I really
Critch is
think he
fantastic. He is.
And they brought kids in the hall in as Carney this year.
Yes.
That was another great
brilliant
move.
The thing is, and I know some of the people who work on 22 Minutes. 22 Minutes to me is a wee bit like Saturday Night Live. I think it's been consistently maybe not must-see TV, but probably should-see TV for a long time, and often must-see TV.
Yeah.
But, there's a sine wave. I think that they've had a great year. They've got great content.
It's a local Halifax guy, plays both Pierre Poilievre and Trudeau, and he nails both of them.
Chris
somehow.
Wilson,
Chris Wilson
nails it.
Trudeau, who's that?
Yeah.
This
talk
time
about him
last
later.
year, he was Prime Minister of Canada.
That's right.
And I don't think, again, and maybe we're not as...
Now he's making
as
fireworks for Katy
farsighted
Perry.
Is that where he is? Yeah. No, but who would have predicted? I mean, we didn't, that Mr. Trudeau wouldn't be Prime Minister.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people thought Poilievre was going to have that spot for a moment.
Well, he was
because
one of them.
They weren't.
I still think he does.
Yeah, but I mean, to see what happened there, that massive shift was so crazy.
Yeah, but, I think there are a couple of parts of that have been overlooked that are worth talking about. Obviously, in a democracy, the person who gets the most seats gets the government. So Carney won the election.
Right.
But, Poilievre got more votes than any Conservative leader since Brian Mulroney.
Yep.
That's an accomplishment. And the other thing is, the reason that Carney did so well is because the NDP votes basically migrated to the Liberals.
Yeah.
If you were measuring the election outcome, and I'm not a particular fan of the style or tone of Mr. Poilievre, but to give him credit, he did attract a lot of people to that tent.
Yep.
And he did it without the benefit of having, I'm assuming, a lot of NDP voters go to him. So a lot of Canadians who had voted for maybe the Liberal Party or another party did go to the Conservatives.
That's a fair point.
In the last election.
It's a fair point. I agree with you. Now, that being said, if we had another election right now, I don't think that would be the case.
Well, you may be right. We're not going to have an election
No, we're
now,
not.
but I think the wild card in the next election, based on the situation as it is now, is going to be Quebec. Because we're seeing the reassertion of the separatist impulse in Quebec, the sovereignist impulse in Quebec. And it would seem to me that if the Bloc Québécois does better in Quebec in the next election, it is more likely to be at the expense of the Liberal Party than any other party.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the Liberals did very well in Quebec. So I would think that the risk for Mr. Carney going forward might be with the resurgence of the sovereignist impulse in Quebec. Having said that,
just lost his Quebec general too.
he did just lose his Quebec general, Mr. Guilbeault, who did the proper thing, if you ask me.
Yeah.
We know that Mr. Guilbeault has been a strident environmentalist his entire life.
That's right.
And whether you agree with the pipeline or not is not the issue in our discussion.
Yeah.
Clearly, Mr. Guilbeault could not abide that.
Yep.
So he did the right thing. He left the cabinet.
Yeah.
You'll notice he didn't leave the caucus.
No, exactly.
He did not defect from the government.
That's right.
Because, of course, that would be detrimental to Mr. Carney, who's, I still think, trying to cobble together a majority. And I wouldn't preclude in 2026 that he tips that scale. It could happen.
I agree with you 100%. He's 2 seats away, and I think it could happen. I think he claws his way there. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all day because I think he's become this centrist that people are starting to relate to a little bit, like almost Chrétien-esque type of thing.
I think that's a good analogy. And don't forget that Jean Chrétien with Paul Martin was not the kind of liberal that Pierre Elliott Trudeau was, and Mark Carney is not the kind of liberal that Justin Trudeau was.
Yes.
Mark Carney, I've got a number of friends who point out that Mark Carney is more of a conservative progressive, which we used to call a progressive conservative.
That's right.
Much closer even the line to what we see here in Nova Scotia.
Well, that's exactly right. And we are very centrist in our politics in Nova Scotia. You know, curiously, Stephen McNeil was the most right-wing leader we've had. Tim Houston is to the left of McNeil on many things. But I guess the point is that Mark Carney may have found the sweet spot in Canadian politics at the right moment, which is back toward the center.
Yep.
And he may be tipping a little bit center right, although he's clinging to some of Trudeau's initiatives, which clearly are more to the left of the political spectrum. So
I think he's just going to leave them. I think he's not going to talk to them. I think what people, this is just me talking, but I think what people got is that there were certain things that were on the left side that Trudeau really liked to kind of like, and I'm not saying I disagree with them. I'm just saying he really liked to jam them down people's throats.
people felt that way.
And I think Carney's just going to like, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. That's already a thing.
No, I think you're right.
Move on.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't like the term woke, not because I don't understand it. I do understand it, and I think it has a meaning, an important meaning that we should try not to change. If you look at where the word and the notion
where
of
it
woke
came from.
where it came from.
Absolutely.
But I'll use it because I think people generally understand it. Mr. Trudeau and the Democrats in the United States contemporaneously were seen as going too far in that direction. They were too concerned about identity politics and not concerned enough about the real issues that people are experiencing. And we started talking about Christmas Daddies, but let's be honest about this. And I can't speak for the two of you guys, but my perception is that I'm not having a hard time buying groceries. I mean, groceries are more expensive than they used to be, but there are a lot of people who are.
Yes,
more than
there
ever,
are a lot of people who are, and they're getting
Yes.
a power bill that's too high,
Right.
and they're getting they're trying to keep fuel in the tank in the wintertime, and it all adds up.
Yep.
And that is what political leadership needs to be addressing right now, which is why the last budget. The budget that did pass, ultimately,
the federal
I was shocked that there wasn't something in there that at least, I don't mean to pay lip service to what we call the affordability crisis, which is a term I also dislike.
I don't like the term either, but you're absolutely right.
But there needed to be something in there that indicated that the government understands that a lot of people are having a really difficult time.
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
I think the thing is too is I don't think they realize how broad of a fact that hard times are reaching. It's people in the trades now. It's people that it's not. I'm not just talking someone who's entry level and they can only get a job at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I'm talking. You might have your journeyman. You might have a Red Seal, and believe it or not, as high in demand as we are for carpenters and the trades right now,
You're absolutely right.
Those people are not making enough money.
That's right.
Right? I mean, the layman's, the worker, the
and
ones
again,
that we
you
really need.
Look at how these things cascade across people's lives, right? Let's take, the budget in Halifax. I know that's pretty local for your show, but they're actually toying with a 10.5% property
Way too
increase. Come on, that can't happen.
Crazy.
It cannot happen.
Crazy.
Real people can't afford that.
No.
And then not only your property tax goes up by 10.5%, and then all of the associated costs go up.
Of course.
So
It's going to increase. It's going to increase rent.
I bought for
It's going to increase rent. It's going to increase everything. Everything is going to increase because everyone's going to get paying 10.5% more.
Oh yeah.
I honestly, this is one of the few times where it's like, I don't know. I get so frustrated because city council. I ran in 2020, and I've just been so frustrated with the decisions that I've been making ever since then, and some of the reasons I wanted to run. And it's like we can find 11% to cut. I'm confident we can. Did Cogswell need to get done?
Well,
do we need to do
not to argue with you, but I would say that if we're going to look at seriously reforming the cost of government, that we have to look at the main cost factor, which for most governments and most businesses is the cost of staff, the cost of
that's
people.
true too.
And by the way, when you talk about, and I said this on television, I'm going to say it on television this week, and we have to let a lot of people at the post office go. We do. We have to have a smaller post office, but we have to do it in a way that respects those people.
Of course,
it is not their individual fault that the post office is losing. It's probably lost like the better part of $1 million since we've been talking. That can't go on. That's not sustainable.
No, it's true.
Right? That is where the cost is, so we need to contain the cost. And I do think when it comes to government, we need to ask, what services should the government be providing, and how many people does it take to provide an acceptable level of service at a fair rate of compensation?
Yep.
So there needs to be a rationalization of all of that. That's hard-hearted because it does involve real people, and we need to treat those people with respect.
Yeah.
But we do need to deal with the problem.
That is something that's happened this year. Is we've had 2 strikes. I actually feel that the strike has actually hurt them more than it's helped them, because I think it's helped people realize that they can actually use them less.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
I mean, they went on strike, and I don't like.
And my life didn't
That sounds
change.
really arrogant. Look, the postal workers went on strike, and really almost nobody noticed. Apart from driving by Almond Street and seeing the workers on the picket line, and not seeing my letter carrier, who's a great guy, by the way. Talk to him every day. He's an old style letter carrier, but most Canadians don't notice when the mail doesn't get delivered because there's nothing essential in the mail anymore.
I guess for
There's
them,
really not.
I mean, just to kind of put a drop in their bucket, though, too. I mean, I do realize back to where we were just talking about affordability.
Yeah.
It's not a way of life for them anymore.
That's
right?
true.
And that's what sucks because they're being undercut by the cheaper outfits that you're paying guys next to nothing to get your package delivered to your doorstep.
But this is what I think Steve was on to,
it's a
though.
bit of a problem, right?
Is like there needs to be less of them so that the ones who are working can get paid more.
Get paid more.
You can't give everyone a 5% raise or more when you have, well, whatever, like 100,000 employees. But if you had 50, maybe you could.
But let's not forget, too, that this is not essentially a parcel delivery problem. This is a fact. This is the fact that all the Christmas cards I used to get when I was a boy growing up in St. John that came in the mailbox that was bulging with, you get email from people now.
That's right.
It doesn't cost, well, it used to cost 6 cents to mail a letter when I was a kid, or 4 cents. It doesn't cost $1.50 to hit send on your computer, and everybody gets a beautiful animated Christmas card.
Or they Zoom them.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Or you just Zoom.
But the point is that most of the routine communication we get from the banks, from our credit card companies, et cetera, it's all online.
Yep.
So the business model that has failed is mail delivery.
Once a week, and I was like, this is a way smarter system. Like, because, I mean, I'm only need to get the mail really once a week.
Pick up the mail once a week, maybe twice.
I pick it up Fridays.
We have a super box, right?
Yeah.
See, I still have mail delivery. I live in the city. We get mail delivery.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely old idea.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of Leave It to Beaver. I'm old enough to remember. Well, not literally, but but I do remember when the mailbox was bulging with stuff you wanted to get.
That's
right.
But it's not anymore.
If you didn't check your mailbox for a week, it used to be overflowed.
Yes.
You would not be able to.
I'm not kidding. I went there last week and I looked, and the only thing in there was I think it was Subway coupons.
Yeah.
For a week.
I had a Canadian Tire flyer and a.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Get that 50% off a sub, but
But truthfully, I remember this time of year when I was a kid, and I grew up in the 1960s and 1970s, but I remember going to the mailbox this time of year, and you'd count the number of Christmas cards people had sent to my parents. You'd have 25 or 30 Christmas cards in there.
Kind of nice,
you would have
though.
sent 100 yourself from your home,
I guess it's kind of a nice thing, though. Yeah.
it is. And you know what? You're right. And I think when people get them, I think people feel more nostalgic and they like the idea more than they like doing it because no one's doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not just because of the mail. Cards also cost like $4, $5, $8 each.
Yes.
They're $8 if you're getting those Hallmark cards.
Oh my gosh, the premium cards now are $10.
Whereas the email card is click, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
No, that's true. But we did get Carney.
Yeah, we got Carney.
We did get Carney.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
What are your thoughts on him so far? Like, he's had an interesting year, I think.
Well, I think he was an interesting pick, and a couple
He was
things
out
I'll
of
say.
nowhere, right?
Well,
I didn't see him coming. I mean, maybe I was out of the.
You were out of the loop.
Okay.
He was.
I was out of the loop.
I don't know
He
whether
was
you guys
basically
carry
chosen.
any cash around anymore.
Yeah, I know. He used to sign it. Yeah. His signature's
I
on
once joked that.
couple
Yeah,
of
there it
bills
is.
there.
No, he's not on there. I
on
used
one
to
of
joke that everybody was carrying Mark Carney's autograph in their pocket.
That's
'cause
true.
He was governor of the Bank of Canada a long
That's
time
right.
ago.
Yeah.
I don't think that governor of the Bank of Canada is a high profile job for most people in the country. I mean, it's an important job, but I don't know that most people could tell you who is the current governor of the Bank of Canada.
Nope.
Although he's signing the money too. But nobody's carrying money anymore. But my whole point is that Carney didn't really come from nowhere, but he didn't come from politics, and that was probably an advantage when it came to running.
Yeah.
But again, I come back to something that I did say in a commentary I did earlier this year. In the end, Canada wanted a change, and we got a change when Mr. Trudeau left. That was the most important thing that happened, and it was almost 1 year ago that Chrystia Freeland really put the icing on the cake when she made it clear that she could not abide Mr. Trudeau, and many in the caucus finally were prepared to
Many
say
here in Nova Scotia and
Yeah.
Maritimes.
yeah, that's right. Me too. So we got a lot of change when Trudeau left. A lot of Canadians were ready for Mr. Trudeau to go. So there was a certain amount of change delivered when the Liberal Party changed its leadership. And then we had an election campaign, and it came down to the question of, well, who are you most comfortable with? Who, in terms of their style, their tone, their personality, their policies? And more people in more parts of the country said Mr. Carney. He won, by the way, a majority of seats in 6 of the 10 provinces and a plurality of the seats in British Columbia. So he's got a large majority, even though it's not he's got a large plurality, even though it's not a majority.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. But that could be hard to sustain, particularly, again, if Quebec decides to go in a different direction, if there's any sort of surge in NDP support, and there may well be with this pipeline decision. There may be a lot of people in the West, British Columbia particularly, who say, you know what? Liberals know. Jonathan Wilkinson and his crowd, they may say, no, we want to go in a more environmentally sensitive direction.
I do wonder, though, if Trump did not get in, would we have Carney right now? I just wonder if that would have shifted the whole thing. I do.
It's an unknowable.
Yeah.
I mean, Carney ran against Trump.
Yeah,
he did.
But Poilievre ran against Trudeau. That's the problem. I mean,
that's also true.
Yes,
he was still talking about Trudeau when it's like he's not on the ballot, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's another reason why 22 minutes has just been banging, because they've just they nailed it, right?
Yeah.
But the thing, a question I had for you about who do you think kind of came out to be the most about the carbon tax? Who do you? Because there's two sides of this, right? Like, someone was kind of lying to us about how it infected inflation, right?
Hi, this is Kimmy and Jeff from Exit Realty, wishing you a warm and wonderful holiday season.
This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro. Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace. You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca. Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro.
Well, it depends who you were listening to. I don't know that anybody seriously thought that the carbon tax was a major cause of inflation. Supply chain problems were the major cause of inflation, and probably still are. Although I'm now getting a little suspicious about some price increases. Although Brendan Doherty, who runs this bar, was just telling me they just did the menu and didn't have to put up the prices.
That's awesome.
For the winter. Because he said, food seems to have settled down a little bit. That's a good thing. Yeah. That's a good thing. But I don't know that many people thought that the carbon tax had a major impact on prices. It had some effect for sure, but the carbon tax had a tremendous psychological effect on people. And when the consumer carbon tax was lifted, it dropped gasoline prices, home heating prices, and so on. So I think it had a tremendous psychological effect on people. And psychology is a major driver in the economy. So.
You know what dropped my gas bill? Buying an EV.
He bought a Leaf.
I bought an EV this year.
Did you? Yeah.
It's I mean, I'm 3 months in, but so far I love it.
Right.
Haven't been to a gas station in 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
It's no effect on your power bill. Well, who knows? We don't get power bills.
He has to run it backwards to wind it.
Oh,
it's a little pain in the
I was going to say, is it one of those Freddie Flintstone things where you've got feet on the ground?
Yeah. It's kind of funny to see him do that.
I'm actually my power bill has gone up maybe, I don't know, $5 or something.
I think the afternoon pint has just turned into the afternoon 2 pints.
Yeah, there you go. It's a plural one.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm very fortunate because I don't have to plug it into my work very often, or in my home very often, because my work provides free charging for electric cars.
One thing I've noticed is the number of charging stations that are suddenly popping up. And of course, a lot of it has been legislated, but very impressive at the airport, for example, all the number of public places there are for EV charging.
Do you know where I'm parked right now?
Convention center and so on.
I'm parked right now at the Halifax Library. Okay. I pay for parking there because they let me charge the car for free once you're parking there. So you're paying for the parking. But
what do you pay for parking?
What is it? We're Friday here, so I'll probably pay $7, maybe.
The power is probably a quarter or something.
Maybe.
No, I'm not criticizing.
But I would have had to pay for parking anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Coming down, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's a Friday. So I would have had to pay for parking probably $6 or something. Whatever.
We're going to reach a point, this is so far outside my area of expertise, I'll just observe that we are going to reach a tipping point with EVs as we've done with so many things. Mm-hmm. I heard a gentleman on the radio the other day, and I wish I could think of his name because it was on with Matt Galloway on The Current, and he was talking about the fact that solar panels were invented, I think, in the early 1950s, and it took 50 years or what have
Right,
you for
yeah.
them to become economical.
Yeah.
But now a tremendous percentage of the power being generated in China is coming from solar panels.
They have whole cities that are electric.
Exactly.
Like I saw a video of a guy standing in a very busy, like traffic wise, and he just said, "Listen," and you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And cars are
Exactly.
zooming by. Like,
So here's my question: If we could be so privileged as to come back to this planet in 100 years, which you guys have a better shot than I do, but no, but if we could come back in 100 years and read the history of the early 21st century, I believe there will be narratives that say, unbelievably, it took 2,000 years for man to realize that there was an unlimited supply of sun and wind. Seriously. But, stop to think of it. There's an unlimited supply of sun and wind and tidal power. And eventually all these things will tip into being the way to go.
This might be a good time to plug my new show, Computer Saves World, coming out in 2026.
Is this true?
Yeah,
Yes, it is true.
We're using AI to help humanity move forward, and I'm writing comedic episodes with it. So I'm going to come up with it next year.
Is this true? This is,
Yeah,
is this true?
No, it's already.
Oh, wow, that's
the first
great.
episode's called Cooperation, Not Competition, and it's just the idealism, and it's not.
And
a
you're
show.
using AI.
I'm using AI. I've actually used 3 comedians that I admire to help me give me the information.
I love
so
this.
I started with Norm Macdonald because he's my lifelong idol, and I mean when he passed away, I was genuinely sad because I loved his comedy so much, and I still think
not
about
everybody
that guy.
got or gets Norm Macdonald,
but he's great.
He looks better. The more you watch, the better. He
And
looks.
so and I mean I remember like there's parts like I remember reading his memoir and never having such a great time reading a memoir because it was completely fake. If you ever read his memoir, he just made it.
Is it all
it's all
fake? Is it
bullshit.
all fake?
It's just to troll you the entire time and say terrible things. It's the funniest
Kind of
book
like
I've
the
ever
art
read.
of the deal.
Very good, yeah. So, but
It's
anyways,
neither art nor deal.
I used him at first, and then I said, no, that's a little too on the nose, and then I added a couple other comedians to help me with the writing or the creation of
this
this
will be
character.
great. And when do
including
we see
myself.
this or hear this?
Hopefully next year. I'll
And
have
how
it
will
out.
we know if it's real?
Well, it's edited by me loosely, and
Okay.
and that's about it. Yeah. So then I'm going to put it out. I'm going to narrate in my own voice, and the joke is that the computer needed somebody that was, a little more salt of the earth to communicate communicate its message. 'cause
I see.
It didn't want to sound too intelligent, right? So it's using me as a vessel.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so. It went with Walter Cronkite or something.
No, not at all.
It had to sound less intelligent.
Less intelligent, right? We needed to dumb it down because people weren't getting it, right? So.
Common courtey and respect prevents me from commenting further on that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on. So, Matt made fun of me when we made this outline up this morning because he was like, "You're obsessed with weather." He's like, "Weather." He said, "Steve wasn't a meteorologist, but it's been a crazy year for weather."
Yeah.
If you think about it, I mean, we had this no winter last year, and then
I don't live here in the winter, as you know,
that's
so
right. So-
I had a
so
great
you
winter
missed it.
last
You
year.
had
It
a
was
great
sunny and
winter.
28 every day.
well, we had a really mild winter until when, and then we just got pummeled with snowstorms,
Yep.
and then into this
And this
drought.
the dry summer.
Right.
Yeah, really a problem. The funny thing is, and it's not funny in the ha-ha sense, but we because we live in a maritime climate, we think sunny and dry is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
And look, it's a lovely thing.
And it kind of was,
But it's not a good thing.
But it's not a
No.
good thing.
It's not good for agriculture. For example, I love Honeycrisp apples, and we grow some of the very best in the valley. I've found it hard to find some good Honeycrisp apples because there just wasn't the moisture for them. Some of the little ones are really sweet, but the nice big beauties I'm having trouble finding.
The price was up on them this year.
Oh, way up.
Way up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bad for our berries and bad for a lot of things. Now, some people have told me, and I don't know a lot about this, that it's been good for some varieties of grapes. So maybe we'll get some good wine out of it.
certain grapes good for you because you don't want you want water to run through, not stay.
Right.
So that part is good.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you one thing though. First year ever, we decided to go do cherry picking because strawberry picking wasn't super great. Blueberries was good, but
blueberries. The blueberry industry wasn't good.
no, but when we went down, we went and picked them. We got 3 big things of blueberries, and they were great blueberries. But we did cherries for the first time.
They had a terrible year.
How are the cherries?
The cherries were awesome. We bought I don't know, it was something like 6
Where did you
bags.
get cherries at?
Duke Valley.
In the valley, down in the valley. There's Dempsey's Corner.
Cool.
And we actually froze. We still have some. We're pulling cherries out of the freezer now, kind of thing, right?
I want to say something about blueberries, apropos nothing we're talking about. I've always loved blueberries. When we were kids, we had blueberry fields right near the house. We'd go down and pick them. We'd eat them.
Yep.
We'd eat more than we'd pick, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if there were some left over, we'd sell them to the neighbors. But it isn't until the end of our blueberry season when we start getting the blueberries coming in from Mexico or Peru or wherever. It isn't until you get the hard comparison that you realize how good our blueberries are.
Oh, they're so good.
Our blueberries,
Absolutely.
the wild ones in particular, but our blueberries are without
World
equal.
class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, they're yeah. We have
John Bragg is onto something here. I mean, the reason that he's the blueberry king is because our blueberries are king. They're the best in the world.
Yeah, they had a really hard year this year, though.
Yeah, they
and they
did.
lost a ton of their crop, and they didn't even know who was going to be. You know, that they'd have to lay people off this year. They didn't know what they were going to do. Like they've had a terrible year for blueberries, so it's a really scary thing.
It is, but it's not too late to go out and buy frozen berries. And again, I'm not here to shill for anybody, but blueberries are so good for you. We've got a great supply, and they freeze perfectly.
Yes.
They
do,
freeze
honestly.
great, and they're great in Cheerios.
They are great in Cheerios.
Keeps
They're
your cholesterol
great in
down,
Cheerios.
and you can have a night with a little almond milk. It's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
That's my nighttime snack, dude. I've been losing
Blueberries and Cheerios.
weight. I dropped 10 pounds this year, dude. So
Did you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
So, yeah.
I probably found it and picked it up.
So yeah, so I agree about the weather. It was actually it was a really great summer in the sense that it didn't rain very much, and so you get to go out and do things more. We went to my family went to Newfoundland. It was like beautiful weather the whole time. But on the flip side of that is we had forest fires, and obviously those are pretty scary
Pretty
stuff.
devastating.
Yeah.
I remember being in Cape Breton this year, and just every night I was just worried that my house was going to burn down because I was so far away. Right?
And then, of course, there's the fact that it's been raining now for 6 weeks. I mean, we've had a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah.
We need the rain. The water tables badly need the
Yeah.
rain.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, the lake not far from my my house, I've noticed it's starting to get up to normal levels again finally. But we went hiking like a month ago in the Blue Mountain area, and I saw a hockey net just sitting on the bottom of a lake, like the ground.
Yeah.
So clearly there was people who played pond hockey there and everything, but it was just sitting right on the ground. It's like, yeesh.
Jeepers. Scary.
So,
Speaking of weather, if the weather forecast is right for tomorrow, which will be December 3rd when this plays,
Oh, gosh,
it could be quite a snowstorm.
Be a great time to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, seriously.
You can
And
have a
by the
Murphy's
way,
with
if
us
it
indoors.
turns out that there is no snow tomorrow, just forget that we talked about this.
Exactly. So yeah, there's a bunch of other things that we want to talk about in the news. I mean, like there's been some international stuff that's been going on, like not just North American international, but there's some crazy stuff going on out in the Middle East, and some real unfortunate stuff.
Been an
obviously.
unfortunate year for conflicts and stuff all around the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the only comment that I feel comfortable making about it in general is the American response to all of it has been noteworthy. Trump may have brought some degree of settlement in the Middle East. I mean, it remains to be seen.
Hard to really know.
But what's going on in Venezuela is of grave concern to me. That's in very much our neighborhood.
Yep.
I think sometimes we forget that Central and South America are not that far from us.
Yeah.
Geographically, look at where it is. So that's of some concern. And clearly, when a superpower, and really there's only one. Although I would argue that China meets the definition, the modern definition of superpower. That when a superpower becomes proactive when it comes to attacking other nations, it's a serious matter. And Trump isn't wrong about drugs, and the drugs that have come into our lives have done palpable harm to our societies.
Yep.
But his response to a lot of this seems perhaps more political than it is based on sound policy. But
Yeah, and just like there's just some, unfortunate stuff that's been going on. And I mean, you know what? Speaking of people who are going hungry, it's like I think about that all that food that was just burned to the ground there as well. I don't know if you heard about that, but
Just fill us in real quick.
just basically they're over in where is it? Like I think it's Yemen or something like that, or whatever, somewhere in around that region. There was a warehouse full of like food that could feed like something like 70,000 people or something, and they knew it was there. There's been warnings that hey, like this stuff is about to expire, and it basically sat and they let it expire, and then they just decided to burn the whole thing down with the food in it. Total waste of food.
That's strange.
Could have helped a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, there's people hungry around the world. And
But to take that point and extrapolate further on it, food waste is a tremendous scandal.
yeah, it's
In
disgusting.
the world.
That's something we should really be focusing on.
Well,
in
we should.
2026
And, you know,
onward.
I
even in Canada. Like
I
even
commend
at,
I commend
your
the
grocery
grocers
stores.
because some of them are now beginning to make sure that stuff that can't be sold is getting out to food banks, or they're trying to find ways to do it. And yes, we need to make sure the food supply is healthy and safe.
Right.
Yep.
By all means.
Yes.
But best before dates have had an unintended consequence.
I agree. People confuse them with expiry dates.
Right, and best before doesn't mean bad after.
No.
But a lot of food gets dumpstered
Yep.
because somebody, presumably enforcing either corporate policy or regulation, has decided that it's got to go out. Look, it's immoral.
Or if food has a shelf life, get it out at a discount that it just goes out the door and doesn't go to waste.
Well, and
right?
the major grocers have gotten better at that. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot more of the. I see a lot more of the stickers going on the 50%. What is it? The eat it tonight or enjoy
Yes.
it tonight.
Yeah, enjoy
I see
tonight.
a lot more of that.
Yeah.
For me, I remember a few years ago I saw this thing where in France they actually they passed some legislation around this where grocery stores could actually donate food
Yeah.
to food banks and stuff, get a credit for it, so they benefit for it, so it incentivizes them, and also excludes them from any liability, which is something that some people may be worried about as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
smart.
well, I think liability is probably a good excluding people from liability. That doesn't mean we want to exclude them from responsibility, but we don't want people getting sued over good intent.
Exactly, that's the thing. I don't want someone throwing something out saying like, "I'd rather this go to the garbage so I don't get sued."
But I'm more worried about the unintended consequence of best before dates and so on. Look, the idea of protecting the food supply is a noble. In fact, it's just an essential idea.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we should enable or allow good food, completely safe food, to be thrown away.
Right.
It's just wrong.
A shout out to my local little farmers market out in Prospect there, Mabel's, because they have two prices on bananas, like non-ripe and ripe.
Perfect.
Right, and that's why
Well,
not?
that's brilliant because bananas are very much a matter of opinion. Now, do you like green bananas?
I will eat them,
Yeah.
but I don't like. I wait for them to get mostly yellow. I don't like when they start getting brown, unless you put it in banana bread, and then I'm like really big fan.
I don't do bananas.
You don't do bananas.
No, I love blueberries. I like berries.
You don't do bananas.
Bananas
No,
are a berry.
occasionally.
Really?
Only if
Bananas
they're
are a berry. Yeah.
Only if
they
they're
meet,
sliced
they meet the definition
and
of a
in
berry.
a salad, then I can have bananas. Like if they're in like a fruit salad or
But don't-
something, I'll have them, but not.
But don't tell me a banana's a berry. I mean, don't tell me a tomato is a
Is
fruit.
banana?
Bananas,
Bananas a
technically-
berry?
Banana's
Technically,
technically
yes.
a berry,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And strawberries are technically
Not a berry.
berries, apparently, because the seeds are on the outside.
That's
of the
right.
fruit.
Oh dear. Okay.
okay.
I don't want to talk about this.
That's all I know about that, and that's probably not enough to carry on.
All right. Moving on again. No,
Yes.
just joking. But what was I going to say there? I had a train of thought, and I.
Well, that's what editing's for.
Yeah,
so don't worry about
exactly.
it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
No,
Is this going to get cut out?
We
No,
actually
we don't cut your episodes because remember the first time we
Yes.
talked to you,
Yeah.
you told us not to cut anything.
Oh yeah. Well,
we took that to heart. I'm kidding. We stopped editing.
We've honored the tradition
because when
now I
was-
just stutter for 6
when
minutes.
I started doing interviews on the hour-long newscast,
Yeah.
which was 25 years ago, we said we're not going to edit.
Yep.
And you know what? With very few exceptions, we did not edit, and I think it made the content better. It wasn't always prettier.
Yep.
But it was usually better.
I sometimes like I'll shorten a long pause if someone's just getting information.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give them a minute.
Or if
right?
somebody
You know?
coughs,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
if there's a
stuff like that.
technical problem,
Yes.
yeah, by all means. But
And the only thing is, like, if someone says like, oh, I kind of screwed that up. Can you take that out? We'll do it on respect of our guest.
okay.
Yeah. Or someone says something really bad about
I wouldn't do that. The one time I did it with Stéphane Dion.
Yeah,
caused
we
me
talked
a lot of
about
trouble.
that, yeah.
No, it's true. But here's something else. And again, journalists have the right of the responsibility, and whether you consider yourselves journalists, interviewers, what have you, journalists certainly have the right, some would say the responsibility, to edit. But I would offer this view. It is the knowledge of the public, or on the part of the public, that things get edited that leads people to be suspicious of editing.
So
So
true. Yeah.
I'll clarify that to a degree. When we talk to politicians, we don't edit anything out.
Good.
We like when we had our debates and things like that.
Yeah.
Nothing gets edited.
Good.
You say it. the time we would do it is like someone may have said something that maybe I'm too personal, and they'd be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that." It's like, oh, I might get in trouble.
He just doesn't want to sleep on the couch, right? So we'll help him out, right? You
So
know,
it's
it's just like, you know, he doesn't like, I didn't mean it that way. It might have came out the wrong way. Could you fix that? I said, sure.
Look, I think there can be nuanced reasons for allowing some editing, but
Yeah.
you know, for me, I think interviewers, journalists are better when they don't get second chances, and frankly, guests, often political leaders and others, they're better when they have to give it their best shot the first time around. And I come from a live TV and radio background. Most of the work I did was live.
Yeah.
There's no editing in live.
No, of course,
Right.
yeah.
There's no editing. I mean, you get one chance at it, and if you mess up, well, you mess up. But I think the listener, viewer, reader, they know that real people mess up.
Yeah, and they don't mind hearing the mess sometimes.
No, they like it.
Kind of like it. Yeah.
They like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, your spirit has lived in this show in 2025 because honestly, when we talk about editing and things like that, whatever, or if he's like, man, I got to do some stuff here, I was like, nah, man, Steve Murphy said don't edit it. Like honestly, so you have lived throughout this show. Like honestly, it's probably one of the advice that we've incorporated into our show that we've gotten all year.
Well, again, and I have taken flack from colleagues in journalism who say, listen, editing is part of what we do. And I respect and I understand that.
Well,
but
that's
when it comes
funny,
to
like,
live interactions are better left unedited, in my opinion.
Instagram shorts, these YouTube videos, things people are watching
Yeah.
the most of now. We were talking about this a little earlier about the media side.
Yeah.
It's all heavily edited. So when
Yeah.
you're watching somebody make a clip or a statement about something, that's like you, the listener, the watcher, has to really say, that's a very short piece of a 10-minute conversation, a 2-hour conversation. You really got to figure that out for yourself.
The other, I don't want to call it a dirty little secret.
Yeah.
It is is that some editing in journalism has been done to clean up the questions.
Yeah, okay.
And look, I asked lots of bad questions in my life. No question about it. And no question about it. But no, I mean, we all maybe wish we had a second pass. But I think it's better and it's more philosophically honest for the listener, reader, viewer, if you don't clean it up.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
Anyway.
No,
We're going to keep on living with that.
Can we take that part out? No.
Yeah, sure. Kidding. No, consider it done.
So, okay, next thing is, I think one thing that we've seen, and it's probably, this has sunken into, I think, some of the elections that we've had, but just in life in general, is tradition versus change. Would you think that maybe seemed to be a theme for the last 12, maybe 18 months?
Tradition versus change.
Tradition versus change.
Elaborate a little, Matt, because I'm not sure exactly where you're going.
Well, it's your theme that you have it right there. So anyway.
Oh, that one. Okay, I know which way you're going now.
Yeah. It's your theme.
Tradition versus change.
Yes, because there seems to be a lot of people saying, like, well, I mean, make America great again is a slogan that talks about when was America great and things like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's other things, not just in politics, right? Like, we talked about it earlier about the mail, right? About how, like, oh, wasn't it great when people got whatever, like cards in the mail?
I don't know if I put that in there very well. I think what I was trying to get at in a weird way was, are we going backwards or forwards right now as a society in the way that we're treating and talking about one another? Are we doing a better job this year, or could there be some room for improvement in terms of just looking at the real problems and not at each other?
Boy, there are a lot of questions in there. There's a lot to unpack there.
That was a lot, but that's kind of
Don't you think life is the constant give and take between tradition and change, and sort of maintaining some of the things that we hold dear, and allowing other things to change to, well, respond to technology, for example. But and again, I don't want to sound too critical, or I don't want to sound like a Luddite when it comes to technology, but many of the problems we're experiencing now, where tone and style and discourse and respect are concerned, are being shaped by the access that we all have to social media. And all media are social, if you stop to think about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the idea that every person who's carrying what we call a phone And we should stop that. These are not phones. They're capable of being phones. They're capable of being radios.
It's probably
They're
the thing I use it for the least.
That's exactly it.
When it
But
rings, you're like, what the?
It's a handheld computer.
Yeah.
This is what Bones McCoy had in Star Trek 1966, except he called it a tricorder. This is a multi-corder.
Yep.
You know. But my whole point is that when everybody can publish every idea they have, you're bound to get some real stinkos. and we are. And in the hands of the wrong person, or in the hands of any person who has an axe or axes to grind, any person who is mean of spirit, any person who is narcissistic, there is almost no limit to the amount of damage they can and will do. And that, I think, is what we're seeing on a very grand scale.
Yeah, people rallying together that maybe probably shouldn't have the ability to rally.
But we're not going to stop it.
No.
I mean, it's not stoppable.
No, it's not.
The toothpaste is out of the tube, so we're going to have to get used to it. But I think we can still demand a higher level of civility and decency than we're seeing. And I don't want to turn this into another conversation about you-know-who, but the whole point is that the real reason to object to what's coming out of the White House is because it's rude, it's not respectful, it's not decent, it's not accurate. Forget whether the policies are good, bad, or otherwise. The style and the tone is not civil.
Yeah.
And when your world leader does that, or when your country's leader does that,
Right.
everyone else starts to think it's okay.
Well, it becomes normalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, again, it's completely. Listen, lots of good people voted for President Trump.
Of course, yeah.
Lots of good people did.
They have their reasons for it.
And, sure.
And some
I
of
have
them
family
were,
that has, like, not on my in-laws side, but I have a family that voted for Trump, and they're good people.
Of course, they're good people.
The best people. They're so sweet.
And getting into why they feel the desire to express their political impulses that way. That's a fair discussion to have. All I'm saying, and if I were privileged enough to be granted an interview with Mr. Trump, I would ask him why do you need to be disrespectful? Why do you need to be crude? Why do you need to call people names?
Yeah.
If you believe in your ideas, if you honestly think that you have the answers to your nation's problems, why not present them in a way that appeals potentially to a lot more people by using style and tone that doesn't offend? Why?
Would you want that interview? Like, is that something you'd want?
Are you kidding?
That'd be the best interview ever.
But do you think you'd get anywhere?
No, but that wouldn't prevent. No. Look, I think he's a very difficult. I came close to getting an interview with Trump before he was in politics.
Okay.
He did an event actually in the Maritimes, and we were talking to his people about it. I think he would be a very difficult man to interview.
Yeah.
But I think it would be worth trying. I wish somebody would try. And I wish somebody would present the whole thing without cutting it up.
I think you're the right guy for it. You know what? So I was talking to I'm a manager at work and everything, right? So I was talking to my staff about why I was going to be meeting you here today and everything, and they all told me to say hi and they miss you. By the way, like so everyone was saying like we missed that guy on TV.
Well, I appreciate that.
But they. A lot of them agreed that, like, we I think a lot of people recognize you as, like, a Atlantic legend in the news world and a great interviewer. But I think, like, some people, I think people are sleeping, not to blow smoke up your ass or anything, but a lot of people, I think, don't say out loud that you were even better than I think some people think.
Well, you're awfully kind to say that.
Because, like, you got it. You went at people the right way. Like you got your answers.
I tried, and the thing is, I didn't succeed every day, and I had lots.
Some
of
people are
things.
Impossible, though.
Well, some people are impossible.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Trump is hard to interview.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. One of the interviewers I most respected is the late Tim Russert, who anchored NBC's Meet the Press. And Tim Russert was, in my opinion, a brilliant interrogator. He was a lawyer by training, never practiced, but he brought a lawyer's approach to interviews. He constructed very good interviews. He interviewed people in a tough way, but he was a nice guy about it.
Yeah.
Unless you were giving him a lot of baffle gab, and then he came at you hard. If I could, I would love to see Tim Russert with Donald Trump. I think if Tim Russert hadn't died prematurely, very young man, at the height of his influence and career, he might have prevented Trump from being president, because Russert had a way of revealing, again, this is the kind of thing that gets you in trouble with Trump, but he's not going to hear this. But
I would love it if he did.
Russert was great at exposing frauds. Trump, more than anything else, is a showman. And really, I mean, his entire narrative is fraudulent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to listen. He's the president of the United States. I respect the high office he holds. I wish he would do the office the favor of being dignified about it.
Yeah.
But I recognize that. I don't argue that. But I don't think if he were properly interrogated at the right stages that he would have gotten the job. And Russert might have been the guy. Anyway, we'll never know. God rest Timmy Russert.
And with that, too, we lost someone else, Matt.
We lost Colleen Jones
a great
recently.
journalist and a great human.
Oh, yeah. That, I'll tell you, that was...
Another legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, she is a legend.
Yeah. Would have loved to have her on this podcast. I'm really sorry we won't get the chance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got to know Colleen, obviously. We hired her on CJCH 40-some-odd years ago. And she got the job because she was a great curler and because she was a great person and didn't have any broadcasting or journalism background, but boy, did she ever take to it. Or did it ever take to her? I'm not sure. I'm not sure which. Because I don't think she changed one bit. She got obviously more skilled, but her nature, her personality didn't.
Yeah.
And the other thing that Colleen never changed and didn't apologize for was that she was a fierce competitor. I mean, everybody agrees she was a really nice, kind, decent person, thoughtful, funny. But anybody who ever was on the ice against her, she was tough as nails.
Well, you have to be to have the level of success that she's had.
And that's why she was the world champion.
Yeah.
And I underscore world champion.
Multiple.
Yeah. And curling, it's not as if we only do it in two countries like candlepin bowling.
No, it's true.
Like curling is a world sport, and she was the dominant woman in her sport for a long time.
Yep.
And she didn't get to be dominant by just being a softball.
Yeah.
Even though she was just a wonderful person. My gosh.
First female sports reporter ever in Halifax.
First female sports anchor. But I will point out, with no disrespect to my colleagues at the CBC, she did that for ATV before she did it there.
That's fine, yeah.
But that's okay.
She's still the first. She's still number
one. She was
one,
absolutely the first.
Very
and
cool.
She loved it, and people loved her.
Let's say cheers.
Yeah,
cheers. I always called her CJ because the radio station was CJ when we hired her. CJ and CJ. But no, she was a wonderful lady. Really wonderful person.
Yeah.
Extraordinary in everything she did. Great mama, too. Fierce. Heather and I were out with Colleen and her son at an event not that long ago. She was there with her son, and fiercely proud mama.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Yeah, we've lost a couple local people. We lost Peter Bayless this year, recently, too.
Oh, that's... my son and I were talking about that today. My son's a Mooseheads fan, always has been, and as a younger kid, everybody loves Bayless. Right?
Honestly, to this day, I don't think it's just something about him. I'm not saying he's the greatest singer or whatever, but something about him always hits when you hear him sing our national anthem.
I couldn't agree more. And and he was a very good singer. It's not a question of that. But it was the way...
It's not Celine Dion singing our anthem. That's all I mean.
Well, no, fair enough. Yeah. And you know what? I don't think Peter Bayless would argue the point.
I don't think so either.
But the thing is, it was the way he did it. It was the passion he brought to it, the enthusiasm he brought. And you know what? Let's face it, he became an essential part of the game. I mean, obviously, it is about 60 minutes of hockey, but it's also about Ian Robinson on the PA and Bayless doing the anthem and Bobby Mack in the crowd. And it's about all of that, and he was such an essential part of that.
Big time. Yeah. It's going to be good.
Another cheers.
Cheers to Bayless.
Here's to him. Yeah.
Go Moose, go.
Go Moose, yeah. Go Moose. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, so, I mean...
This has all happened this year, too.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy the amount of news that has happened this year. It's like You know, I'm almost going to blame Steve because he said, like, you know, on this last one, he was like, we'll come back and talk about the year.
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't have predicted any of these topics a year ago.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Well, like, I mean, again, like, and that's one of the another like thing about Trump is we do lose sight of our own Atlantic presence and our own Atlantic news and what's going on in our own economy.
He takes up a lot of.
He takes up so much of the air, right? Yeah. And I guess that's something else it's really been a theme of our show this year, and we fell into it honestly. But the Atlantic economy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up because I know Don Mills has been on here a couple of times. I had the great pleasure of working with Don and Dave on their book launch. Yeah. I highly commend that book.
That's a great book.
No matter
what side you feel
it's not an easy read. I mean, if you want an easy read, there's a lot of good complex thinking in the book. But their book also is beautifully detailed, lots of graphs and lots of points. And it isn't just their opinion. There's a lot of fact. Sure, there's some opinion. And Don Mills has never been shy about his opinions. Yeah. And now, you know, he's been tapped to lead this panel. Yep. Where hopefully he gets a good bully pulpit and people listen. I'm not saying Don's right about everything, but Don's right about an awful lot. Yes. And a lot of it is attitudinal. Another Don who I really respect is Donald Savoie at the University of Moncton, who's also written some very, very good books about what we need to do in Atlantic Canada to reclaim our place as an economic power. Because at Confederation, we were an economic power on the continent, not just in the country.
No, you're right, yeah.
Wow. Halifax and St. John and Sydney, these were continental cities of importance, along with Montreal.
And it makes a lot of sense when you think about where we are geographically.
Toronto.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Halifax and St. John in particular were very, very critical to Canada.
I actually asked, when we had Don and David on, I actually asked them if they thought that Federation was actually, may have hurt Nova Scotia / Halifax, which was an interesting, he didn't think so, but...
Did it hurt? I think you could make the case that things would be a lot different had there not been Confederation. Yeah. I think we sacrificed a lot to build a country. Yeah. I think it was probably a sacrifice worth making, but I wish the country would recognize it. Because when I hear people in other parts of our nation, and I hear this more west of Quebec, you know, Quebec and Quebec and the Maritimes have always had a great relationship.
Yes, agreed.
Montreal, Halifax, St. John was a triangulated economy.
My wife's from there, so
I love Montreal. I mean, I would take...
Well, my wife's from Quebec City, but
I love another place I love. But Montreal, fabulous global city. But my whole point is that we sacrificed quite a bit to help build this country. Yeah. And I'm not sure that, and you can't live on your past accomplishments, but they need to be kept in context. Mm-hmm. You know, there wouldn't have been an American Revolution without the city of Boston, without the city of Philadelphia, without New York. You can't just pretend that America would exist without them. You can't pretend there's any Canada without Halifax, St. John, the major maritime cities. Yes. We were critical to it. Yeah. Yeah. And we paid a high price. Mm-hmm. Was it worth it? Some would argue it was not. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the alternative would be.
No, exactly.
Right. Would we be a 3-province nation? Doubtful. Might we have become part of America? Possibly.
Maybe. Yeah.
Would you want to be there right now?
No,
not quite.
I doesn't want to be there right now.
I think we have a great country.
Yeah, we do.
But I also think that we have had Canadian values, and we've had Canadian culture, and we've had Canadian traditions that are worth preserving. Yep. And it's become even more clear to me since we've been challenged on our patriotism by the idea of becoming
51st?
A state, which, look, we wouldn't be a state. We'd have to be 10 states or at least 5 states. But the whole point is we don't want that. We could have gone that way. We chose a different way. Yeah. Let's not forget why we chose a different way. Yes. Let's not give up on those things. These are Canadian things.
Yeah.
You know,
love it. There's only one thing.
It's pretty hard for Canada.
There's only one thing that comes to the top of my mind where like Americans got it more right than we did, and that's 4th down versus 3rd down.
Oh, God. Well, that's a matter of opinion. Yeah. Don't get me started on the CFL because you know what? I've said this my whole life. Never get into it because I never felt that there was a team that was our team.
That's fair. Yeah.
The Owls were a team, and then they weren't a team, so we had basically the CFL from Ottawa West.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could we support a team here? Do you think there should be a CFL team here?
I think there should be, and I think we could.
Yeah.
I think if it can't be like, we can't go out there and like call a team the Halifax whatever.
No,
it does
I
need
agree.
to be the Atlantic.
I agree.
I mean, obviously you still need Halifax. It can't be in Moncton. It can't be in New Brunswick, unfortunately, because people from Halifax aren't going to go there.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing, though, is if you look, and this is not my idea, I think this may be Don's idea, actually, Don Mills. If you look at what he calls the Moncton-Halifax corridor,
Yep.
and it does leave out a couple of important population centers, but they're not far away, Fredericton and St. John.
Yep.
But and the Annapolis Valley and so on. But if you look at the amount of population in the corridor from Halifax to Moncton, it's a big population group.
Sure is. Yeah.
Because it includes, obviously, the 500,000 plus people in the Halifax metro
Yes.
area. It includes all the people in the Truro Bible Hill area.
right.
Even really the catchment area into the Annapolis Valley and into Pictou County. It's not that far.
So
then you
put the stadium halfway is what you're saying?
No.
No?
I think you put the stadium in the place where a stadium can be supported otherwise. And by that I mean, and there's a nice little stadium at the UDM.
Yeah.
It's a small stadium. I think that Halifax is the right place for a stadium, but not just because of football, but also because of soccer,
Wanderers.
also
Yep.
because of concerts.
Right.
We have the Tides here now too.
We do.
Yeah.
But we also have 500,000 people within a
Right.
35-40 minute drive of the building.
Yep.
I think that's the
key.
the deciding factor.
But I think people will come. I mean, people come from Moncton and Cape Breton to go to IKEA, for freak's sake. So
True. But you see, IKEA, again, here we go. This is a little too commercial, maybe. IKEA is a stadium. Think about it. No, IKEA is a
you're right,
stadium.
you're right.
And, the first IKEA in North America was in Halifax. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
It was
yeah, they
it
pulled
was
it out.
Burnside.
It was in Burnside, but it was a small store.
That's right.
But it was their first foray into the North American market.
Yeah.
Then they closed.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to come back. But you'll notice they came back really big.
Did they ever?
With a stadium-sized store.
I am forced to go there sometimes with my wife and son because they like to just walk through it and look to see if they like things and get meatballs.
I get lost in there.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I'm not a Costco guy either, though. I don't like any of the big
I
places.
don't like being in most stores.
Yeah.
But I will say, IKEA, Costco, I mean, like the Costco's great. They have food. They have good prices on things and everything, right? Mm-hmm. IKEA, again, they have affordable things for people to buy and all that stuff. It's great. I just don't like being in stores.
That's not an IKEA problem.
That's not an IKEA
that's
problem.
your problem.
That's a me problem. It 100%.
But your analogy, though, to a stadium is a good one. People do come from all over to shop there because it's a stadium-sized store. It is. It's a major market venue.
How are we supposed to get Taylor Swift here if we don't have a stadium?
Taylor Swift was here. You know that.
I do know. Yeah, I know that.
In the day.
She did open for, what was it? Keith Urban or something like that?
Somebody who's been forgotten in the ash heap of... No, not. But,
yeah, there was a picture just posted of her actually just this
I'd
week.
forgotten that she played here, but she did.
Yeah. She was like 15 at the time or 16 at the time or something like that.
Whatever happened to her, anyway?
Just complete flop of career.
Pity it didn't work out for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, no,
She's
exactly.
doing okay. She's doing all right.
Yeah,
this
she's
year.
only a billionaire.
She made it through 2025 unscathed, I think, for the most part. Yeah.
She's engaged.
Yeah, engaged. Yeah. Congratulations, Taylor. Cheers to you.
But back to stadium, we should have a stadium. By the way, I think what Derek Martin has done with our football here, soccer, is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think we should build a stadium. No disrespect to Derek. We don't want to build a stadium for that purpose.
I agree.
I think we need a stadium that can
Multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose, yeah.
needs to be multi.
And we talked about this with Don. I mean, I can understand, like, back in 2019, specifically 2020, I guess, because we're in the middle of a pandemic and a lot of funds are going towards fighting a pandemic. I don't think that was the time to put dollars to that, but now is the time. And I'm okay with tax dollars because we want doctors, we want professionals here, and those people
I
want...
agree with all that. But, again, to me, this debate has too often come down to the role of government. I think government does have a role to play in all public infrastructure. I mean, let me go down a small rabbit hole before emerging at the other end. Do you remember the great debate about whether to build a convention center? Do you remember the great debate about we don't need a convention center? Okay, I just did an event for the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia at the convention center week ago Saturday night. We had 600 people there. They raised $450,000 for mental health. That's
awesome.
That's one of many major local events that goes on in the building. I said to Mr. Ramia Joe Ramia when I saw him, the building is not just a convention center.
No.
It's a community facility.
Sure is.
It's part of our social infrastructure. It's
How
where we
come
go
we-
to celebrate
how
and
come we
raise
did-
money.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, we...
And the stadium's the same thing.
Yeah.
But the government didn't build the building. Yes, the government put money into Joe Ramia's building. Joe Ramia built the building.
Yes.
So let's get some people here who want to build a stadium.
Yes.
They want to invest in the infrastructure.
Yep.
Yes, government's got to step up.
Yep.
But we need good private leadership to step up, too. We
do.
need a new metro center, too, by the way.
Agreed. Yes.
We do.
Yeah.
Not because, I mean, I love going to the Scotiabank Center.
Nah, it's the Metro Center. It always will be.
Well, we'll
You want
be,
to talk
but-
about tradition versus change?
Okay.
That's tradition.
But let's not deny Scotiabank. You know, they put a lot of cash in there. They've really helped
No,
improve
it's
the
true.
joint.
No, they have. They have. It's true.
But I mean, great many memories in there. But you know what? We can make the case for a bigger than a 10,000 seater now. I think we
so.
need a 15, 16,000 seat building.
Mooseheads are busting at the
100%.
seams.
Yeah.
They are. They're busting at the
Or
seams.
concerts
But I-
even,
but
right?
concerts,
You know,
100% concerts.
Offspring concert is
But with all
sold
due
out.
respect,
Yeah.
I don't want the government to build it. I want
No.
want somebody in the business community to say, let's build the building,
Yes.
and then bring all the players to the table.
But I think we will if we have government saying we have tax dollars available to help.
to help.
Yes. Yeah.
Same with the stadium. I'd like the universities to be involved in the stadium. And I know the
They need to be.
universities are on hard times because of foreign students.
They're down. Yeah.
But I think we've got some great universities in this town, and they're economic engines, often overlooked as economic engines. But Dal and St. Mary's particularly, and the Mount,
Yep.
these are economic engines in our community. But they also are in a position to invest in this kind of infrastructure because they can use it. They
Of
can
course.
use it for their own purposes.
They have football teams. They have soccer teams.
They do. They
Track
do.
and field and all that stuff.
But they've also got a big donor base.
They also have a big donor base.
They do.
No, you're right. You're right.
And they do a lot of good work in the community, not often recognized,
Yeah.
but they do. And
Yeah.
they fund scholarships, and they're educating a lot of young people. And I give them full credit for that. But get them to the table, too.
And it's great for another thing, too, which I think you're leading another show this weekend, you said, of tourism. You know, it's been a great year for Atlantic tourism. If you look at the statistics, it's that's something that's been tremendously up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's people staying away from the U.S. We don't really know.
Yeah, it is.
People staying home. People staying home.
But I mean, I've certainly, I had a pretty well, my gosh, I didn't get a chance to tell you. After our first conversation, I went to Ireland with my dad and my brother.
You did?
Yes.
Good for you.
And it was awesome. Absolutely loved it. We went down to Galway, went up kind of like the
Beautiful.
western side of Ireland. We didn't go to Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Spent
Well, go
some
back
time
and
in
go to the
Dublin.
north and make sure you go
Yeah.
to the east, to the ancient east of Ireland's beautiful.
Man,
too.
oh man, it was unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Right?
But
Nicest
you know
people
what?
in the world.
I'm going to take an opportunity,
rival
and again,
Canadians.
it's a bit of a name drop, but
Yeah.
hasn't the airport been doing a great job? Hasn't WestJet stepped up?
Yes.
Yes.
With European destinations. Look at Air
know what?
Canada just added Brussels from Halifax.
My wife and I were ready to go. We had our trip pretty much planned out that we were going to fly into Munich, and we were going to go from Munich and drive and hit Italy and Slovenia and down to Croatia. And WestJet comes out and says direct flights to Portugal, and we're like, "Ooh,
So you're going.
Yeah.
it's booked, done."
Do you I
Done.
mean, if you don't mind me
Done.
asking, like, what did you pay for a flight to Portugal? Do you remember?
For 3 tickets,
Yeah.
picking our seats and carry on or whatever, checked luggage or whatever, everything was $2,400.
That's pretty good.
Three,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
And that's
It's really
door
good.
to door, and by that
Yeah.
I mean Halifax Airport
Yep.
to Europe and back.
Sure it is.
No, and we Heather and I went. We did Amsterdam and then connected down and met some friends in Italy.
Yeah.
Look how great it is that Halifax is emerging as a European destination. And you know what? We may have President Trump to thank for that, because
Maybe
if
that's
we're
true.
not traveling down there,
Yeah.
we're traveling over there. And
Yeah.
WestJet, by the way, which has not been an Atlantic Canadian operator,
Nope.
is now running, what is it? Is it 10, 11 European destinations?
Yeah, it's
Next
11.
summer.
I think it is 11. Yeah.
And Air Canada steps up with Brussels, which is a great airport to connect to Europe.
And
So,
you know what?
Yeah.
Kind of shout out to some. We talked about this with Don Mills too, but shout out to someone who else we want on our show is Joyce Carter.
Get her on.
Hope to get her on next year.
Yeah, we want to get her on. Obviously, she's leading the way, kind of really selling our airport and doing a great job at it.
And Halifax Airport will be nice if they ever get it finished. I mean, it's. But you know what? That's a sign of a growing airport.
No, that's true.
And
That's
again,
true.
I don't love the plywood when you come in from Europe because they're under renovations.
Yeah.
But it's a good sign that the airport is building and rebuilding. Look at all the places to go out there and get a pint or to get a meal.
Yeah, it's starting to
compared
grow.
with.
I just flew into Pearson, and like half the stuff was under construction when I got there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Same thing.
Like
Yeah.
I flew there in October.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
So what is this Atlantic tourism thing about that you're doing this week?
Well, it's
curious.
thank you, sir. It's the Tourism Industry Association is having a major event in town. They haven't done it for a couple of years, and I'm down emceeing their awards dinner.
Oh, cool.
sweet.
It'll be tonight, December 2nd,
Yeah.
at the Westin.
Nice.
And we've got a lot to celebrate in tourism in this province.
Sure do.
When I came to Halifax in 1980, tourism as an industry was worth a fraction of $1 billion, which
Yep.
is a lot of money. Do you know what tourism's worth this year?
Ooh, I'm going to shout out 1.8 billion.
You are about half of the value of tourism.
Oh, wow.
It's $3.5 billion.
Wow.
It's a $3.5 billion industry.
Yeah.
In Nova Scotia alone.
In Nova Scotia
my
alone.
gosh.
When I came here in 1980, I think it was around $500 million, and they were saying we can grow this to $1 billion.
Wow.
They've grown it to $3.5 billion. Yes, it's 45 years, but $3.5 billion. That's a major industry in this province. It's up there with all of our top industries. Always has
What's
been.
PEI at? I'm just curious. Do we have an idea?
Don't know. As a percentage of their gross provincial product, it's probably more.
Probably a little
because
more.
They're small and
it's
they're
smaller.
seasonal.
Yeah.
But when you stop to consider that, Nova Scotia, we forget this because we live here.
Yeah.
We're at the edge of the continent. You have to come here on purpose.
Yes.
You don't drive through. It's not like Saskatchewan.
No,
where
it's true.
You
There
kind
was
of
a
get
movie
there.
Don Cheadle was in once, and he landed in Nova Scotia. He's like, I'm in the armpit of Canada. What movie was that? Gosh, it was like Trader or something. It was this old movie. It came out 20 years ago. Gosh, sorry. But anyway, sorry.
I'm going to have to go and Google it.
Yeah.
But my whole point is Nova Scotia is a purposeful destination.
That's
you
right.
come here on purpose.
Yes.
That's why we need to keep a ferry. That's why we need the flights from Europe. That's why we need a big airport. That's why we need good roads. You
Yeah.
have to drive here on purpose.
That's right.
You're not going to get here by mistake. So-
yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
And
It's all
and
the
we've done a
things-
good job with that.
That's the thing that's you're kind of laying out the thing that I always say, that everything is connected here. Like we need leadership, whether it be private or public, that understands that if you want to attract doctors, you need entertainment, which means you need a stadium,
Right.
For whatever, whether it's sports or other music or whatever, right? Plays, whatever.
Agreed.
So if you want those types of people to stay here, and you have to try to compete with the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Toronto Blue Jays, you need things for them to do.
Right.
It's the same thing with tourism. You need the roads because you don't want people like banging up their cars as they're
That's
driving
right.
along.
Well, they won't come back.
They won't come back. Exactly. It's
No,
all
you're right.
those connected. So we need leadership that makes those decisions.
Just to backtrack on something you just said, another piece of social infrastructure we need here is an intermediate building between the Rebecca Cohen size
Yes.
and the Metro Center.
That's fair.
So I was,
Yeah.
we were down to a few shows at the Metro Center this year. The Scotiabank, they've had some good shows. Foreigner was in there. They had 5,000
Yeah.
or 6,000 people. It was a quite great show. But we need about a 5,000 seat auditorium. Because there are a lot of acts and a lot of good acts.
Great stand-up acts, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to play in the Metro Center.
That's
Yep.
fair.
They're not.
Yep.
And the cone isn't big enough. So we need an intermediate-sized building, and we also need a bigger building than the Metro Center.
Yeah.
But again, I want to see the private sector step up and take the leadership on this, and then I would like to see government see where it can fit in. But I really do think there's a good case to be made for those two pieces of critical social, I call it social infrastructure, but it's,
That theme was around in 2024, Matt, and it's still going on. So build a stadium. I guess
Yeah.
that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
I'd like to see about a 20,000.
Yeah.
I think maybe we could do a 10. We might do a 12,000 seat that could expand to a 20. That might be something we could do.
20,000 would be large.
Yeah.
That's on the larger side of the NHL stadiums. But I mean, easily we could do 16, 17.
Oh, you mean for hockey and so on?
Well,
I'm at a stadium, like an outdoor building.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. My brain was in the
it's
Metro
okay.
Center.
We're
Yeah.
saying the same thing.
But yes, no, 100% outdoors. Yeah, we need 20. 100% we need 20.
Or at least expandable to 20.
Yeah.
Because not every event you're going to do. I don't know. Can Derek Martin put 20 in there for soccer? Maybe he can. I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't think in a lot of cases like this, depending on how detailed your stadium is, you don't need to fill your stadium to make it worth it, right?
Right.
I mean, you look at if you go to the Quebec stadium, the name is escaped me, but
I think it's Videotron.
Videotron. Thank you. Yeah. So I've been to that stadium a few times, and it's a bare bones, like, I know they built that to bring the Nordique back, and I was in there and I was like, it's a step up from the Metro Center kind of thing.
It's NHLable though. They could put NHL.
They could probably fit some things in there, but if you go to the Bell Center, if you go to the Scotiabank Arena, those things blow them out of the water. It looks like the Metro Center.
I was at the Bell Center 2 weeks ago for Paul McCartney.
Oh, sweet!
Oh, cool.
Wow,
yeah. Nice.
Yeah. What a building, but hey, what a show! Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
How long was it set? Like, did he stay for a while?
Would you believe 2 hours and 50 minutes?
My
the guy's
God.
83 years old.
wow.
And he went hard for 250.
Remarkable.
He doesn't look 83. My
No.
God. Yeah.
And he doesn't behave 83. The amount of energy he brought to the... And the interesting thing is... I'm sorry, we're going way off topic
that's
here.
fine.
No, that's great. Yeah.
He's not doing it for the money because he's one of the richest musicians in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like a billionaire. Or something.
He's doing it because he still likes it, and you can see that he takes genuine joy from walking out there and being venerated, no question.
Of course. Yeah.
He's one of the greatest songwriters of
Yeah.
my lifetime. But the whole point is he's doing it for the joy of it. It isn't
wants
about
to
the
be
money.
there. Yeah.
Although the amount of money they're making is
He's probably
incredible.
making a ridiculous amount of money for that.
$75 for a T-shirt.
Oh my gosh.
I got
Wow.
two.
I guess the
got two, but
Beatles
I'm old.
anthology
All right,
show
Paul,
is
you have
really,
enough money.
is really good, eh? There's a brand new Beatles anthology show that just came out on
Really?
Disney Plus or whatever. I really want to watch it. It looks fantastic.
There's a new McCartney doc coming as well.
Oh, is there? Cool.
McCartney started
Yeah.
the set, by the way, with a Beatles tune, which he's been doing on this tour, which he never did. But he started with Help.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Nice.
Anyway.
That's
so
cool.
That's kind of the news, but there's something that I want to talk to you, because there's something you said to us that you really wanted to, because we asked you what's next for Steve Murphy. So what have you been doing?
Well, I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of the charity work that I always did. I'm still doing Christmas Daddies, the IWK. I've been doing some speeches, some MC work. I've been doing television every other week, of course. I've been doing a little bit of writing. When I'm away in the winter, I still contribute things to ctv.ca. And the other thing I've been doing that isn't, by way of work is catching up on all the reading I didn't get to do when I was reading for a living. Because, when you're doing an interview, you've got to read the book.
What do you like to read?
Yeah.
What do you like to
Well, I'll tell you, Heather and I are both into Louise Penny's Inspector Gamache series right now, which
Okay.
is, I highly recommend it. She's brilliant. She's got a new one out, Black Wolf, it's just come out this year. But it's a 20-book series set in Quebec in the Eastern Townships. Beautiful, beautiful book, beautiful series. And we're into it, and it's very addictive. But there is an end coming because she's only got 21 books. And I think Heather's almost finished, and I'm at book 15 or 16. So no, but I'm still, I'm reading a lot of fiction because I never got a chance to read fiction.
Okay, cool. That's fair.
Yeah. And I'm reading a lot of nonfiction. I just finished 1929 by Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Yeah.
Probably, I can't think of a book I enjoyed more this year. It's a brilliant take on the stock market crash of 29, what really led to it, all of the personalities that led to it. And they're all in there, all the bankers, but Churchill's in there, Roosevelt's in there, Coolidge is in there, Herbert Hoover's in there. All these fascinating people are in there. And it's a great book. So, yeah, lots of that. Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah. I thought it was, See, because I know you wanted to, you're retired but not retired.
I say rewired.
Rewired.
Yeah.
I think is a good way to be, a good way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We had something there, Matt. Maybe you can ask the question. My phone's off. So, I had it near the end there. Yeah, that.
The headline one?
Yeah, that's that one.
So what headline story from 2025 will history say mattered the most?
We took a second.
Boy,
Look at the
here's where you
zeitgeist
might
of
edit
this
a
year.
long pause. Let me think about that. The headline story from 2025 that mattered the most. That's a very, very clever question, because you're not really asking so much about the present. You're asking maybe in the future, when we look back, what will be the most significant.
Don't say 6-7, okay? Because people will not.
I don't even know what that is. I've tried to. It's a bit like crypto. Like I keep reading the definitions
Okay, cool.
and the explanations, but I walk away going, no.
It'll be like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The answer is 6-7, instead of 42.
Oh, is that it?
Did you ever read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Long time ago,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, read it again. That's a great book.
Oh, it is a great book. Cool book.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the most impactful. Boy, that's a tough one.
Big event of 2025 that'll carry on
Ooh,
through the
boy.
history. Aliens are we're looking at ourselves back on this year.
Yeah.
What's the big thing?
Well, I mean, the headline might be, although it actually occurred in 2024 that President Trump was reelected. But, it's whether you like him or not, it's hard to argue that everything Donald Trump does has significant effect.
Global implications, almost everyone in the globe talks about everything that man does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly right. And it's certainly the effect that Mr. Trump has had on our own country. Nobody in this country voted for him, except Americans who live here. But, we have been more affected by Donald Trump and his policies probably than by almost anything that's happened in Canada.
I think he's helped unite us when we were starting to fall apart a little bit.
Bit of
Well, I
celebrity
think,
kick.
yeah, he has had a unifying
100%.
effect. And, the election of President Trump and his policies influenced the election in this country. Did it elect Mark Carney? I'm not prepared to say it's quite as simple as that, but
No,
it
that's fair.
It was certainly a factor. But I think that probably when the history of the period is written, Donald Trump is going to be one of the major figures. And I'm not going to draw any hasty analogies to other figures from politics, but the rise of political figures, individuals in the 20th century often did have very wide-ranging effects for generations.
I'll say this, and hopefully I don't get any flack for it or anything, but I technically didn't get it, but I had some family who went to the U.S. this year and came back with a gift for me, because they thought it was funny, but they came back with a MAGA hat. And so I do have it, the red, 45, 47. And something, my wife was like, why do you want that? Why would you keep that? I'm like, this is going to be history in the making. And
it's already historic.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's it hangs, in the back of the closet, like not on display or anything like that.
He puts it on every once in a while and just looks at himself in the mirror and smiles.
No, but I just I was like, this is going to be a piece of Americana that is going,
Somebody I know said they were going to give me a MAGA hat.
Oh, yeah.
And it said, "Make America go away."
That's pretty good.
But can I maybe I shouldn't say this. No, I think I should say it because I think a lot of Canadians feel this way. I don't dislike America. I don't dislike Americans.
We still love America. We love everything about America.
I just don't. I don't care for the style and the tone that's coming from the top.
Right.
But I still think that the United States has been a force for so much good work
of course.
In the world in our lifetime.
Of course.
And I think that I always loved. And my son Brendan and I went to. He's a huge baseball fan.
I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm not a Blue Jays fan.
Brendan is too.
Yeah.
We went to a major league ballpark every year for his teenage years. We were at Fenway many times, but we were also in Washington and both buildings in Chicago. We were in Milwaukee and we were in Atlanta. I mean, the whole point is I love the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I never wanted to be an American. I don't want to be an American.
No,
but I
no.
like
As
America.
a kid, you dream of going to California. When I was a kid, I thought California sounded the coolest
Have you
place
been
on
to
the planet.
California?
Oh yeah. I've been there since. Well, as a kid,
One of the best-
but you dream of these iconic American places.
Oh no, it's true.
Right?
No, you're completely
One of the
right.
best
New York,
vacations I had ever been on was just last year, like last summer, and my wife and son and I we flew into Vegas, and we went to Utah, Arizona, and then back to Vegas.
Very nice.
It was one of the best vacations I've ever had in my life, and I've been to Europe a handful of times and traveled around, went down south. This was one of the best vacations I'd ever gone on. Because the terrain is good, we did some hiking. Like there's just some really cool things to experience.
Yeah,
it was great.
And again, I think it's important maybe for us to remember, and we're closer to the United States geographically, physically than any other people on Earth, with our friends in Mexico.
Yeah,
obviously they're very close as well. But America, to me, the United States of America has always been sort of a bit of a tougher country than we are in some respects, but it was never a mean country.
Yeah.
It was never mean.
Yeah.
You didn't have to agree with them all the time, and I think quite often we didn't.
Right.
But I never had a feeling that the Americans were mean people. And there's a meanness about America now that doesn't seem to be American.
I don't think Americans are mean.
American people aren't.
I think it's a very slim minority. It's the loudest voices from the darkest corners and probably in the worst situations.
And here's a
that are
bitter
seeing that
irony
shit.
for all of the talk that is going on now about immigration in America.
Yeah.
By the way, Canada has had to curtail immigration.
That's right.
Curtailing immigration doesn't necessarily mean you're anti-immigrant.
100%.
We've had some problems in Canada because of population, and immigration is part of that.
Yeah.
But when America turns on immigrants, it's turning on its own history.
100%. I totally agree with that.
100%.
That's what they were founded on, right?
And so were we.
So are we, 100%.
I mean, none of us is here because of thousands of years of
No,
history.
no,
Right.
exactly. Some of that, like, we'll call
Shout
it.
out to the old triangle.
We'll look at like some of the stuff like the rate, like racism that it is, where it's like people will they see parades of a culture that may have maybe from overseas, and people are like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I think it's no different than a Santa Claus parade.
I think it's fantastic.
Exactly, right? It's great. You know what? I like to experience other cultures and other cultures' food. So if they can bring it to me, then that's
no, absolutely.
right.
But again, this is why when I hear meanness of spirit,
It's a lot more meanness.
coming from the top in the United States,
Yeah.
Like I said,
it doesn't feel right.
it comes from the White House social media
Yeah.
accounts. It's not just, it's at the highest level. You're getting
the stamp of
stuff
approval
thrown down, and then that just entices an audience of.
And let me also say this:
Hatred.
I mean, in this country, there's some meanness in our politics.
Of course
at the
there is.
moment. Most Canadians are going to bristle against meanness.
Right.
I'm going to ask for a prediction from you. Speaking on the topic of meanness,
Sure.
indirectly hint.
Okay.
Do you think 60 days from now there will be a different leader in the Federal Conservative Party?
60 days from now, being December 2nd, February 2nd, will there be a different... No, there will not. I think Mr. Poilievre will survive his leadership because he gets to basically set the rules. I mean, Joe Clark got 66% support and said it wasn't enough. Pierre Poilievre would not say that, but I think he will get more than 66%.
Interesting.
But I do think the Conservative Party, the whole party, including the various factions that include progressive conservatives and others, need to ask themselves about the style and the tone of the leadership of the party. I think Pierre Poilievre is quite a smart man, by the way. And
I don't think he's dumb.
I've heard a lot of people calling Mr. Poilievre a lot of names. I'm not into that.
Yep.
I think I've listened to him over the years. He was always sharp. He was always chirpy and chippy.
Yep.
He needs to be less chirpy and chippy. And the Conservative Party needs to ask itself, is it really the party of the reform movement, of Preston Manning?
Yes.
Or is it the party of Peter MacKay and Brian Mulroney?
Yes.
And then it needs to reassert what it is.
Yep.
And you maybe have to set aside the question of what do we have to say to get elected?
Yeah.
Because Pierre Poilievre got more votes than any Conservative leader since I think it was 84,
Yeah.
maybe 88.
Wow. Yeah,
But he's not Prime Minister of Canada, and the reason he's not is because there was resistance to his style and his tone as the agent of change.
And I think he wouldn't have gotten that if Carney had more runway.
You may well be right.
Right?
Carney was quite. I don't like to call prime ministers by their last name. It's weird. Prime Minister Carney was relatively untested and unknown when he got elected.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Poilievre was better known.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
I was thinking when you got Michael Myers in the hockey rink with him, that's when I think he won, personally. But you guys think what you want to think.
You're saying that to be funny, but I think you're not wrong about it.
It changed. It flipped the whole thing around. It was just like, okay, yeah.
It showed the
He's your
boring
guy.
banker had some humor.
Yeah.
But the boring banker image is only one of his images. The guy's actually a pretty good athlete. He was pretty good as a hockey player.
That's right.
He played at quite a high level.
But he also exercises a lot of humility, and I
does.
think that's something a lot of Canadians do take a certain sense of pride in, and I think that's where Mr. Carney.
Who was it who said that it's important to know what you don't know? And I can't remember who coined that or who I'm quoting. But Mr. Carney got to be Prime Minister by knowing that he didn't know a lot about politics.
Yeah.
And who's he been leaning on since he's been Prime Minister on the hard politics? Who is the Trudeau minister who is still an important minister to Mark Carney? The most able politician in the cabinet is Dominic LeBlanc.
Thank you.
And Dominic LeBlanc, I've known Dominic LeBlanc for many years. Dominic LeBlanc is a very able guy.
Yeah.
Dominic LeBlanc is the kind of guy who's got the brass knuckles and he can deliver the hard punch, but he will do it in a way where you'll ask him to do it again. He's very skilled, and Mr. Carney has leaned on him heavily for the politics.
And lean on the politics side, but then one of the things that I've really enjoyed is I think we talked about this with Don, is what I've liked about what he's done is he's traveled around the world, finding new partners to deal with, and he's done it like relatively quietly. And what I mean by that, obviously there's press releases and there's photos and stuff like that, but like it doesn't feel as showboaty as some of the other politicians in my past that I've seen.
Interesting because, he's new to politics, but he's got a very impressive Rolodex.
Yes.
A lot of people will take his call because they've already talked to him.
Exactly.
I'm sure when he calls Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Keir Starmer doesn't need somebody to say, oh, yeah, he's the Prime Minister of Canada. Because
right.
He's thinking, oh, yeah, he was Governor of the Bank of England.
Exactly.
And because we've been at the same cocktail parties.
Yes.
So I think that he's played that very well, and I think we need a lot of that.
Yeah.
But on the subject of hard politics, Mark Carney is not a well-experienced politician. He's been around a lot of politicians. He's only ever won how many elections?
Yeah, the one.
One.
Right.
Yeah. He had to get elected leader of the Liberal Party, but he's only been elected member of Parliament once.
By the people.
So that's why he's leaned on a guy like Dom LeBlanc, who I think Dominic's been MP. He's not an old. He was elected as a boy, practically. No, and Dominic.
Some people say that he's one of the more powerful people in this country.
Oh no, he is.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's any doubt that he is.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that we don't know that is part of the reason.
That's 100%. Yeah.
But politically, he's very, very astute. And I have no doubt that if there is going to be a trade deal with the United States, and by the way, I'm not convinced that there will be, but Dominic LeBlanc will be at the table when the arm wrestling goes on.
Yeah. There's been some interesting thoughts around the whole trade deal stuff. Some people are actually thinking that
We might come up ahead.
Well, we might come out ahead because the longer, that's what Don was saying, is like the longer this goes, actually the better it is for Canada.
Debatably, but don't forget, the Prime Minister is sending some messages when he says things like, who cares? And, I talked to Trump, but it wasn't newsworthy.
Yeah.
He's sending another message, which is that maybe this isn't what we should be so preoccupied with, and maybe we can get by without it. Right. But we won't get by without it.
We need America ultimately. I do believe that.
I think so too.
If
how we work with America might change.
If for no other reason that they're just over there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
100%. The fact of geography, history, and culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're a big client and they're right next door.
But we're a big client,
100%.
and we're right next door.
Yeah. Oh, listen, it's get back and forth. Yeah.
I have a sense that automobiles are going to be the big change.
Yeah.
That and energy, which was actually here somewhere. We might have skipped over it, but that's okay.
We're going to win on energy. We might lose on automobiles.
Energy's the thing. I think politics. I had a question in there. I don't know where the heck it was. Or maybe I deleted it. But it was about energy, and how I think energy is going to drive politics in the future, right? This is going to be the major thing, right? Yeah,
it has for a long
time. Because there's a lot going on with like the progressive conservative right now, and like our current government, Nova Scotia, they're focusing on energy.
It's in the forefront right now.
Yeah, we didn't get into that.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that in the past few days the Premier's been talking about oil and gas because he's been all about wind.
Yes.
Oil and gas is, as
He's
we
like
say in
Captain
maritime,
Planet,
a whole
Earth,
other
fire, wind, water. He's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like he keeps going around. But yes, oil and gas is this week. Yeah.
We'll see whether any companies want to go after oil and gas. Nobody
Right.
wanted to go after uranium yet. We'll
Right.
see about oil
Yeah,
and
there's
gas.
no bites on that. That's for sure.
Wind, though, I don't know. I kind of hope that Premier Houston is right about wind.
I hope so too. Sounds like a huge
I love
opportunity.
the prospect of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the prospect of us having something that really drives our economy that, quite frankly, we set and forget.
Yeah.
I mean, not to sound frank, but that's what you want, right?
And there's
wind's going to be forever.
There's those rumors of that, like tidal, like hydro might be
Tidal
back
and
into
hydro
talk
could be
again.
back in the conversation,
I know it's
yeah.
been difficult, but
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the curiosity there is that the reason the tidal power hasn't worked is because the tides are too strong.
powerful. Yeah.
Right? That's an engineering problem.
I
And
agree.
I'm sure you guys know some engineers. The engineers love problems like this.
They do.
And you know what? They'll figure that out.
right. And I hope they do because
They will.
Like every day could probably power this entire province, like no problem.
No question.
Yeah, the power, the force that comes in through the Bay of Fundy.
Well, don't forget, we had a little demonstration project down there in Annapolis Royal. We've had tidal power in Nova Scotia. Tidal power isn't theoretical.
No, it's not
The
theoretical.
question is it possible at the high level?
We've had some damaged equipment and eaten up fish and all this other problems that we need to figure out. But once someone figures it out, I think that's a renewable energy that Nova Scotia could be like. Canada could light up the globe if we can figure that out.
Cheers to that.
Better that we go with tidal power and wind and sun.
That's not super efficient.
The sun doesn't always come out.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
That'd be maritime luck, You
Yeah.
build a whole solar power system or something, and you just get no sun for
Yeah.
That'd be true maritime
For a
luck.
year.
Yeah. No more droughts.
They just go away that year. Yeah. But
A year.
Yeah.
No, sometimes it seems like a year.
Yeah.
Steve, this has been awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to say that I didn't want to say anything because I did not want to stop this episode. You're our longest episode of the year.
Well, maybe you should edit
Ever.
this.
No, not happening, my friend.
Ah, well, listen.
But thank you so much.
No, thank you.
for coming back with us, closing out the year. I hope we can talk to you again sincerely in 2026.
I enjoyed it. And by the way, I had tremendous feedback the last time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What did they say? Did they say that young guy needs to learn some journalistic skills? Did they say anything about Matt-or-I? We need to shut up a little more. Stop
Are we
interrupting
going to edit
you.
this? No.
No.
No,
Keep
no,
it
but
in. I got to learn.
It's always interesting
You should
to
give
me
us give us
what people
compass. Yeah.
what people actually hear and what they listen to.
Yeah.
And for me, it's always a valuable metric to know that people. Well, I heard you on the Afternoon Pint podcast, or I
That's
heard you
cool.
on the Todd Vino show, or I saw your piece on TV. To me, that's more valuable than ratings because it takes. First of all, somebody has to actually hear it or see it.
That's fair.
And the second thing is they actually have to come up to you out of the blue and tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that matters to me.
Cool.
Anyway, it's great.
So anything we should fix for next year, you think?
You mean on the podcast or
Matt and I, the way we're going.
Give us something to work with.
No,
Because a little
Listen,
bit
you
of
guys
a...
are doing. Do your listeners know you're doing well, and that's important, and I think that's great because finding an audience in the podcast universe is not easy, as you guys well know. There are millions of podcasts.
Yes, there really are.
and some of them are listened to by 3 people.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes 2 of the 3 are the people who did the podcast. So if you can make a business case for your podcast, you're doing something right, and you are. So good on you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you so much if you're still listening to the super long episode. We totally appreciate it.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Christmas Daddies.
Cheers to 2025. Please check out and support the Christmas Daddies. It's one of the best charities maybe ever going in Nova Scotia. And I guess the last bit is we have one more episode. It's just our Christmas special, which is not an interview guest. It's just a very terrible, what should I say, revamp of a Christmas Carol radio show done by Matt and myself.
Do you give sarcastic gifts to people and things?
Oh, yeah. Swing Entertainment's in that one, and Laura Fleming.
Yeah.
Please join in and hear that last one. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great one.
Cheers to all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Murphy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks.